Want to win your fantasy football league? Well, then you're going to need Roto Experts in our roster of 52 fantasy professionals. Our premium package is the industry's best. We offer rankings, cheat sheets, sleepers, breakouts, and busts. You can wallow in fantasy mediocrity by going at it alone or taste victory with our help for just pennies a day. Go to rotoexperts.com now, enter the code WORK for a special discount, and begin your journey to fantasy success.
Mike Cardano with Roto Experts in the Fantasy Sports Network, here to talk about top tournament daily fantasy plays for Week 5, as we strive to find NFL players with big upside and potential low ownership to help you separate from the field and climb your tournament leaderboard in daily fantasy. Now, we'll be doing these segments every week during the NFL season. If you find yourself begging for more of me after you watch this, well, you're in luck, because you can hop on over to rotoexperts.com and catch my work there. You can find me on sportsgrid.com, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, and of course, you'll find me 8 days a week on Fantasy Sports Network. Now, starting with the quarterbacks, Blake Bortles is the cheap rookie quarterback to own in tournaments this week. His ownership percentage will likely be low due to a plethora of strong quarterback values ahead of him, but he presents big upside on Sunday. Now, the Jaguars are at home against a Steelers defense that ranks 26th in Pro Football Focus's pass coverage rankings and has surrendered a 7-1 touchdown to interception ratio against Brian Hoyer, Joe Flacco, Cam Newton, and Mike Glennon to start the season. Now, Bortles has attempted 61 passes and 7 rushes in just 3 halves of football, providing a per-game average just under 41 pass attempts and 5 rush attempts. The rookie figures to have plenty of volume, which, accompanied with a favorable matchup and bare minimum price point, make him an intriguing option. Now, he's not the safest option, as the Jaguars have a team total of just 19.5 this week, but a young quarterback who's willing to sling it around and use his legs provides a very nice upside. His price tag also allows a lot of flexibility to spend on a high-priced receiver, and that can be the difference maker in tournaments. Looking at the running backs, Reggie Bush has a very difficult matchup this week, which is why many will shy away. Now, the Bills are allowing just 2.8 yards per carry and have yet to give up a rushing touchdown to an opposing running back on the season, and rank second in Pro Football Focus run defense rankings. So why are we taking a running back against the Buffalo Bills? Well, the Bills have allowed 28 receptions to opposing running backs in their first 4 games and given up 38 targets. This leads the league in targets allowed to running backs, and Bush makes much of his value as a pass receiver. Now, add in some injury concerns to Drake Bell, and Bush could be a feature back out of a timeshare for this week. The price point and matchup will scare people off, but the opportunity is there for a big day for Reggie Bush, especially on a PPR site like DraftKings. Now, if you watched Sunday Night Football this past week, you saw a lot of Travaris Cadet and Kyrie Robinson, but didn't see much of Pierre Thomas. Now, it surprised me to see Thomas actually led the backfield in snaps with 23 and pass routes with 20. It's still a light workload, and the timeshare is a concern, but Thomas has been the best PPR back in the Saints backfield for a number of years now. And at 1-3, the Saints desperately need a win at home, and they're facing a Bucs defense that ranks 32nd in pass coverage rankings at Pro Football Focus. Now, Thomas isn't seen as a back with a ton of upside because of limited snaps, but he posted 2 games last season over 30 DraftKings points, and his contributions in the passing game in an elite offense give him multiple touchdown possibilities. With the price tag elevated relative to his recent production, he'll be exceptionally low owned. Now, looking at the wide receivers, Brian Quick has an elite matchup this week against Cary Williams, who currently ranks 87th out of 100 cornerbacks evaluated by Pro Football Focus in pass coverage. Now, Quick's price tag is expensive relative to other options in friendlier offenses, but he's earned 20% of the Rams' targets this season, and 19% of his targets have been 20 yards or more down the field. Now, the Eagles are allowing just under 39 pass attempts per game, which ranks 5th in all of football. Now, the Rams should get plenty of chances to throw it, and while Quick's price isn't ideal, his matchup is very healthy. He's got a strong chance at being very owned this week with a big play upside that can help you separate from the field. Now, Justin Hunter was a popular breakout candidate in the preseason, but he's been terrible in the early going. he gets a more favorable matchup than you might think against the Cleveland Browns secondary that ranks 27th in Pro Football Focus's pass coverage ratings. Despite the results, Hunter has received between 17 and 25% of the team's targets in each of their first 4 games. He's huge at 6'4", 200 pounds, and 34% of his targets have come over 20 yards down the field. He's getting just over 2 deep balls per game thrown to him, and eventually he's going to cash in on one of these things, and when he does, he'll earn his price tag in a single play. Now, you're going to need a tight end to fill out your roster, and Travis Kelce is a player that we've used in this space each of the last 2 weeks. But unfortunately, the secret's now out, and at $3,000 on DraftKings, he's going to be very heavily owned. Enter Clay Harbor, who took over the starting tight end role last week in Jacksonville and converted 8 of 8 targets into catches for 69 yards. Now, as a Jaguar, he'll get overlooked, and at his position, he'll be ignored due to the competition. But he has a great matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have allowed the 6th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends and rank 26th in Pro Football Focus's pass coverage rankings. Harbor ran 34 routes last week, while Kelce played just 35 snaps in total. Now, the two aren't comparable in physical gifts, but Harbor has the advantage in matchup and potentially opportunities. In a tournament, that is enough of an edge to fade the field and hope to cash in on Clay Harbor. For more in-depth analysis on top tournament daily fantasy plays during the season, head on over to rotoexperts.com and sign up for the Daily Fantasy Football Package. Our experts, Drew Dinkmeyer and Mike Leone, get you ready each week with strategy articles, site-specific cheat sheets, and recommendations that highlight the top value plays each week. And they send you updated injury information right to your inbox with our lineup alerts feature. Become a member of the Daily Fantasy Rundown team at rotoexperts.com by signing up for the Daily Fantasy Football Package. For Roto Experts and the Fantasy Sports Network, I'm Mike Cardano.